Oh, what's up, Philadelphia sports fans? I am Anthony Pinto,
And I am Greg Hall.
and we are going to the World Series. Oh my God!
Breathe it in. I love it. Can never say it too many times.
I just, every now and then I got to remind myself it's happening. But we're going to the World Series. By the way, welcome to the War Room. We are War Room Philly. Thank you all for tuning in. Greg, welcome to the show.
It is so good to be back. We've been doing a semblance of this show for over a decade, and this is the first time we've been to a World Series since we started this show back in 2011. So it is fantastic. All is right with the world, and I'm happy as a clam.
Yeah, 11 years later, and we finally got our wish to talk Phillies baseball together.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
That's what it. I mean, in 2011, we still thought there was some good years to come. We thought maybe there was at least that. Let's not get there. Let's not talk about then. But here we are. It's Phillies, Houston Astros. What up, Nick? I see you in chat. Greg, this is a team that, look, I think both of us. I know both of us predicted them to go to the playoffs preseason. Had you on, we kind of both doubled down after the trade deadline. And I can tell you, at least in our group chat, Greg and I were kind of tripling down on them when, shout out to friend of the show, Ryan Murphy, was getting very negative Nancy, as well as a lot of Philadelphia. And I even admit, I was like, look, I don't feel good, but we're going to get in. And here we are. We're way more than in. We are way more than in.
Not only are we in, we're one of the last two remaining.
Yeah. Yeah, we're 4 wins away. And
one more topper.
It's wow, I love it. So we got a small show tonight. No, but it's gonna be a lot of Phillies. We'll squeeze in some Eagles. We'll squeeze in hey, look, the Union. I saw that Jim Curtin won MLS Coach of the Year. Bet you didn't think I would have seen that, Greg.
Back in the conference finals for the second straight year against the same opponent they lost to last year due to having half their roster out with COVID. Oh, the redemption will be sweet.
It'll be revenge at its finest.
This Sunday night, we're gonna have Birds. We're gonna have Union on the same day. It's too sweet.
Yeah, and those are two meaningful games. Like Friday, I know the Sixers play, but could care less right now about the Sixers. It's
Flyers play a ton during the World Series same day, but they just so happen to be on the road the entire time. Like they just happen to have a road trip scheduled. So there will be no conflicting. Like if you're going down to Wells Fargo, the World Series crowd won't be there. If you're going down for the series, the Wells Fargo crowd should not be there. I don't know about Sixers home games. Maybe that's a thing, but at least if you're a Flyers fan, that won't be a problem.
Yeah, when Keith and I went to Christ, I already forget what game it was. Game
4. Friday, you were at a wedding, right?
Yeah, no. So I went to 2. So Jamie and I went to the clincher.
Okay.
If you're going back to the division series, or not against the Cardinals, I saw the clincher.
No, you didn't, because that was in St. Louis.
No, that's when I said the Braves. That's what I said.
We're off to a rousing good start tonight.
Everything's scrambled right now. No, but we were at Keith and I went to game 4 or 5.
It wasn't 5 because that would have been the clincher against the Padres.
No, it was 4. It was the night before. It was the
it was the 4-0 game in the first inning.
Yeah. No. God damn it. Game
then
3.
You were at game
Final
3.
Answer. That's what you said.
Then you were at game 3. Congratulations, Anthony. You've made it.
You threw me off because I thought you were talking about the last series.
When they hit Musgrove around.
Yeah. So
you were there for Schwarbo's leadoff.
Yeah, we were there for Kane Callis singing right in front of Harry's statue.
There you go.
I turned over at Keith, and both of us.
There you go.
But oh my God, it was fantastic. What up, Bill? Let's see Bill in chat. Um, Eagles and Phillies both go to Houston on the schedule. Yeah, I gotta imagine that there's gonna be a little bit of Eagles and Phillies fans down there in Houston. So it should be a fun trip for anybody making their way down there.
Yeah.
But oh man, it's we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get into a little bit of everything. You want to start off with a little bit of Union, just so we can get one team out of the way?
If you want, it's your show, dude.
No,
I'm
it's
here for the ride.
Greg. Greg is
I,
here. We need the Union Minute at quite honestly one of the most important times of the season for the Union.
we could do Union Minute to start, Flyers Minute to end. We could do whatever you want, and then just wrap this whole big thing with some Phils and Eagles talk. Union Minute. They have Eastern Conference Finals coming up this Sunday night. I think it's at 8:00. It is a rematch against NYCFC, New York City Football Club. You had mentioned off the rip, that Jim Curtin, just incredibly underrated coach. And quite frankly, when he took over the Union as the bench boss, people weren't happy about it. And his first couple seasons were trepidatious, not tremendous. And he has since turned it around. I mean, it's really nice when you have the best goalkeeper in MLS and Andre Blake. He is a finalist for, I want to say, league MVP, and he's a goalkeeper, goalkeeper of the year. So like, it's unreal. I know that the Union have scored the most goals in their history. They've let up the least. I mean, this is the best Union team we've ever seen. They put up a 7 spot. They put up a touchdown and an extra point 3 times this season. Like, you want to go for some high scoring football action, you go see the Philadelphia Union. Again, last year, their roster was decimated with COVID. They lost a ton of starters. They couldn't play their roster the way they needed to, and they did get beat in the conference finals this Sunday night. We're talking about some redemption against NYCFC. They got the first round bye, so they're fresh. They beat Cincy 1-0, who they lost to in the regular season, one of their few losses. So it'll be very nice to see the boys in blue with this amazing new playoff logo with the lightning strike, the snakes popping out. Like, they did this amazing I suggest y'all Google it, the Union playoff kind of logo. It looks sexy. And so, yeah, I'm all unioned up. I don't know. I don't remember the Sunday night football game. So I'm thinking, because it's definitely not the Birds and the Phils are going to be off. So I'm thinking it'll be Union TV, Sunday night football, iPad. Usually I would have that switched around. This is also your last chance to watch the Union on TV, because next year Apple TV Plus has snuck in there and taken the rights to every MLS game, and they're streaming them exclusively on Apple TV Plus, which just so happened to raise its price by $2 a month, announced yesterday. So lots of stuff going on in MLS. That was your Union Minute. Unless you're still looking up that logo.
I was looking it up. You'd think it'd be easy to find, but apparently it's not.
Go to their Twitter or their Facebook.
That's where I was going, to the Twitter. Yeah. You know, but you'd think Googling the playoff logo would come up, but here I am.
Yeah. I honestly have never seen a cooler Union logo. They haven't changed since their inception. You know, they've changed the jersey, the kit color. They've changed a lot of cool things. You know, they got rid of I can't remember the first sponsor, but then they got the Bimbo going. But this is their coolest iteration of logo, and I kind of hope it's there to stay. If you can't find it, I'll pull it up and I'll try to put it up.
I think I got it. Is it their default picture on?
No.
All right. So no, we're still struggling here.
Yeah, I can see your computer screen, and I was like, nah, that ain't it.
Because I was gonna share it I was gonna pull it up on
here.
On
look,
Twitch.
If you just go to their Twitter, their pinned tweet, if you open it up, it's the bottom left hand. If you like zoom in on the bottom left hand, look at that.
Okay.
So if you go to their pinned tweet, and then you can zoom in.
Oh, I see it. All right. Hold on.
It's a beautiful thing, man. Just beautiful.
Oh, chat's getting a whole mess of it. All right, so it's right there. All right, this isn't working as smoothly as I would have liked it, but it's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, like I said, it's a fun time to be a Philly fan right now. Everything coming up Millhouse. Yeah. So, Greg, I can't hold my excitement. Let's talk some Phillies baseball. It's been quite a while, and the last time we talked on air was, well, I can't remember now.
Right
Um,
before the Cardinal series.
oh yeah, yeah. So we've been on. We've talked a little bit,
A little
um,
under 3 weeks.
and it's been
1 week since it left. Never mind.
it's been a ride. How do you feel against? Well, you know what, let's before we get into the Houston, let's backtrack. Um,
How did we get here? Like, we're 9-2
uh,
in the postseason.
undefeated at home.
5-0 at the bank.
It's been a fun run, and how about that Bryce Harper guy?
MV34, as somebody in the Parkwood page put, like, God, these people that sell these knockoff shirts, the one woman is selling one with him in a Nationals jersey wearing 34. Like, get a clue. I don't think anybody should support your small business if you can't even get it right. The fact that he's number 3. Now I know that you just are speaking out your ass. But with that being said, how did we get here? What did we do to deserve this? I've shouted from the rooftops this was a better team than we've let on. And it all kind of just had to homogenize. And it never had the chance to homogenize in the regular season. You lost your MVP for 2 months. You lost your starting second baseman for 2 months. And you might say to yourself, well, that's just Gene Segura. Number one, he's the best 8-hole hitter, arguably in the National League, if not Major League Baseball. Number two, he got 2 of the biggest hits of the postseason in game 1 against the Cardinals in the 9th inning, which Tommy Edmonds should have had, but still, I'll digress. And then secondly, that bloop single against San Diego to bring in 2. So, like, you want to talk about a lineup that finally is together, finally healthy. Schwarber had the knee issue from sliding into third in Washington. That's clearly cleared up. Since Rhys Hoskins hit that home run against Spencer Strider, Kyle Schwarber has a 600, I think, OBP. I think he's been on base 60% of the time. I don't remember if it's OPS or OBP, but I'm telling you that now that this team is healthy, I would have liked to see Castellanos and Bohm flipped in the order. But other than that, they're clicking on all cylinders. This is a very good baseball team. We've been shouting that from the rooftops. And it's like a new hero every night. You had Thor come out and pitch great against the Braves. Marshy hit the home run. Segura's been the hero. Obviously, MV3. Rhys Hoskins had 4 hits in the entire 5-game series against the Padres, and all 4 were home runs. The guy just rose to the moment when he needed to. Schwarbo setting the tone, always on base. His strikeouts have been way down. Like, this team is just gelling. And then I didn't even get to mention the starting pitching, where really there's been one bad outing outside of the Bailey Falter start, which never should have been a thing. One bad outing, and that was Nola in game 2. The team's clicking on all cylinders, and they're about to run into the arguably the best team in baseball, maybe outside the Dodgers, in Houston. 107 win team. But this feels like a team of destiny. I could eat my words, but this feels like a team of destiny. Hey, the Braves beat the Astros. The Nats beat the Astros. Might be the Phillies' time now.
Yeah, it's gonna be the NL. It's gonna be the NL East is to the Astros what the NFC East is to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So that's how it'll get down. Sean Z, first time in chat. Love to see that. We made the playoffs specifically despite Keith Hernandez.
Who then said, I'm a bandwagon Philly. Like, I want to jump on the bandwagon, which I am. I love, man. I love the bandwagon. Like, bring them on. I'm driving that bandwagon. Like, I'll take you to where you want to go. That's fine. I allow anybody on the bandwagon except for Keith Hernandez. You're not allowed on my damn bandwagon,
Absolutely.
Keith Hernandez.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna just read. It was from Nick in chat. Most clutch home run I've ever seen overtook Matt Stairs.
Yeah, I was actually just about to mention that too. That same chat, and it's statistically speaking. I said this to Pinto earlier today in a group chat. Statistically speaking, it is the Phillies' second most clutch hit in playoff history, only behind Jimmy Rollins' walk-off double against Broxton in 2009. And it would be number 1, but that came with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, down by a run. This was in the bottom of the 8th, no outs, down by a run. So, I mean, equally as huge in our minds and our pantheons, we'll live them forever. Like, Bedlam at the Bank is now the new slogan in which to live our lives by. But statistically speaking, the Rollins walk-off double added 87% win probability. Harper's was like 43 or 44 because there was still an inning to go. But point being, you're slicing hairs at that point. It was absolutely the most clutch home run, to your point, I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's man, it's been incredible. And how do you not bring in Hader to pitch against Bryce Harper there? I'll never understand.
And
I don't.
and Suarez was petrified to throw him a ball in like on the inner half of the plate. He was pounding hard away, hard away, hard away, and then he hit him with that changeup, and Bryce laid off of it, and it's like that thing died late, and how he laid off of that, I don't know, but you knew he was going to come back with the heater. He wasn't going to throw that back to back. Bryce knew it. He was outside that hole at bat. He knew exactly where that pitch was going. He drove it to left. I'd have taken the double. JT's fast enough to have scored there. But man, to get that out of the ballpark was just. My daughter was sitting on my lap. He hit it. I squeezed. I picked up. It went out. I put her down. She started crying because she doesn't know what's going on. And then I started running around the house screaming. Our windows were open. I'm pretty sure somebody called the police. It was bedlam at the bedlam on Ballston, since that's where I live. There we go.
Yeah, I ran out of the war room and just slapped the walls out there. I'm so thankful I didn't put a hole or two through my walls. I didn't know how to contain myself. Absolutely went nuts. Jamie and I started hugging each other. I think I picked her up, like, which I don't do. It's not like not a thing, but man, went absolutely insane in that moment. Yeah, like you said, it was Bedlam in the Worm. It's not as catchy here. Bedlam
I'll
in the
tell you though.
Bedroom. Ooh,
Oh
it's
no,
not really a bedroom anymore, is it?
I'll tell you though, like that was the biggest moment in a postseason filled with moments. Like, what are the odds of all-star closer Ryan Helsley melting down? Yes, he had the finger injury, and that's what led to it. But what were the odds of that in Game 1? What were the odds of Spencer Strider just losing his fastball velocity and literally piping one right down Broad Street to Bryce or to Rhys Hoskins? What's the probability of Kyle Schwarber hitting the longest home run in Petco Park history? On top of that, the Castellanos catch, both Segura hits. It was Zach Wheeler just being dominant. Sir Anthony striking out Goldschmidt and Arenado back to back. Like all of these, the Marsh home run, like everybody's had moments. Alec Boehm, that catch against Arenado, that line drive down the line where he pounded his glove against the ground. Yeah, when you think about it, this was just another moment. And I think we're at the point where this team just expects that. They just expect another moment to happen. And guess what? Who's it going to be? It can be any of the 9 guys in the lineup. And that's the beautiful part. Houston has an incredible pitching staff, an incredibly deep lineup. But this Phillies team, even though this is actually the second most win variance in World Series history, 107 to 87. I think it's 106 to 87, so 19 games. That's the second biggest in the history of baseball. The other one was 1906, and the team that had less wins actually won it. I think it was the Cubs over the Sox, the White Sox, or the White Sox over the Cubs. I can't remember. But they are more evenly matched than their records would indicate.
Yeah, and hold on, we got real quick before I get in. I have a retort to that, but also, actually, you know what? Let me retort to that because now I see it's a question. Now it's look. You're getting Verlander Game 1. We kind of have an inkling now that it'll be Nola, but Aaron Nola or Zach Wheeler, Game 1. Where would you go with that? As far as like, do you like the idea of Nola going there?
Yeah, I like the idea of Nola going there. It's not official. I mean, Matt Gelb is a very good
Could be
beat
gamesmanship.
reporter. Very good beat reporter. Does a great Phillies podcast. My favorite Phillies podcast, as a matter of fact. Fantastic beat writer, but he's not Topper. You know what I mean? He doesn't make the decision. And, I haven't heard like it be corroborated by anybody. So, it might have just been an educated guess. Who knows? But while the debate's still alive and well, I would probably rather see Zach Wheeler. The argument is Nola's got extra rest. He hasn't pitched since Game 2. Wheeler would be on regular rest, but you have the option to give him an extra day's rest if he goes in game 2. And I think there are just two big factors that go into this is whoever pitches game 1 in Houston pitches game 5, which would be in Philadelphia, obviously if necessary, but we all expect it to be necessary at this point. So you get a road start and a home start. Game 2 would be in Houston. Game 6 also in Houston. Whoever pitches that game 2 would be on the road. Wheeler had one start at the bank, and all of his other starts were on the road. So 3 of them. He had Cardinals, Braves, and Padres, all game 1s, all on the road, and he had his one bank start. Nola obviously had the first CVP home start in 11 years. So, like, there's that. And then also, whoever pitches game 6 is pretty much out for 7. I mean, you could technically, if you need the bullets, go to game 7. I know that, like, I think of like Garrett Cole when he was with the Astros and about to leave. He was warming up in the bullpen in game 7 against the Nationals, and they never brought him in. So, like, there was that whole controversy. Maybe Wheeler, if he does pitch, 2 and 6, can give him an inning in 7 if they need it. Nola would be more likely, or whomever pitches game 1, I should say, because now you have, like Ranger did, an extra day's rest in between. So, like, I think about this as like the long game of the series. And when you really break it down that way, I mean, Zach Wheeler's just the better pitcher. So I'd rather have him in the long game, but all is fair in love and war. I have total confidence in Nola. So I would give Zach the extra rest and I would go with Aaron Nola.
Yeah, I think so. Here's what I'll say, chat. Greg and I brought this up earlier, and I asked Greg which side are you going to take. He kind of let me sweat on it a little bit. I had Greg pegged for taking Wheeler, so I started making the argument for Nola to the point where now I want Nola to do it. But it's
I love that.
Yeah, so it's like I argued with myself to the point where I convinced me. But it's the biggest thing I can see is giving Wheeler that extra day going into game 2. Nola is, you can look at the innings pitched. Nola is the more fresh and ready guy right now, and I kind of think it gives you, like, if you go in there, it kind of gives you the feeling of, if you go in there and steal game 1 with Nola, you're in a really good position for game 2. If
Love
you
that.
come into Philadelphia up 2-0, grease
Right.
the
and
polls.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, obviously. But
Again,
you're right though. You're right. That's
these are
huge.
these are it's now again, you could say the same thing if you flip them.
Reverse. Exactly.
You could say, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are saying, yeah, Wheeler's your guy, Wheeler's your horse. He's playing, lights out, one of the better postseasons that any Phillies pitcher has ever had. So you're not wrong. There's no wrong answer here, and at the end of the day, I ride with Philly Rob. Like, he's made my job as a fan so freaking easy. Anybody that comments War Room Philly, Facebook.com/War Room Philly with anything, I just go, I ride with Philly Rob. I just let him do it. And until we're proven wrong, you just gotta. I just need Murph. I need Murph to hate every move he makes, because he's wrong every time, and I love it.
If Bryce doesn't hit that home run, Wheels is arguably the NLCS MVP. I mean, it's him, Reese, or Bryce, and without that homer, it's probably Wheeler. But here's the thing too to think about. Here's 2 other caveats. Wheeler kind of has, his last 2 or 3 starts, has lost velocity into the 7th inning. He's gone from 97, 98 to 94 to 95, and that's a big deal when you're talking about that big of a drop of velo. And we kind of, to give him that extra day, maybe he can still throw 96, 97 in the 7th inning, because we're going to need 7 from him no matter what in the World Series. And also, the last time the Houston Astros lost a game was the game where Nola pitched the almost perfecto to clinch the playoffs. So, like, obviously Houston wasn't giving it their all that series, specifically that night. I mean, McCullers had a good game and all, but Nola did step up in that place already. He knows Houston. He's pitched there very recently. So, like, I think there's a lot of things tilting in Nola's favor there. And just quite frankly, to give Wheels that extra day of rest could be immense for him, because he is still fresh-ish off of an IL stint. Nola sits 94 anyway. He's not a 99 power pitcher like that. He's gotten it up to 96 when he needs it. specifically to like end an inning. But Nola's not necessarily the most overpowering guy in the world. He trusts his ability to pound the zone. He has that movement, that wicked two-seamer, nasty hook. If it's on, it's over. So, he hasn't pitched. Well, I don't even remember what day game 2 was, but it's going to be it's over a
I
week
think
and
I
a
heard
half.
8, 9 days it'll be. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we
And
still got 4 days till the game. So,
and
like,
just to like counter, yeah, I have the numbers up in front of me. Zach Wheeler, again, going back to my pro Nola argument. This is the big one right off the bat. You mentioned the velo, the numbers. 25 innings pitched, 25.1 for Zach Wheeler, 17.1 for Nola. He feels right now like the more fresh guy, and I think if I need to lean on somebody, maybe 1-5. I don't like to think of past game 6 because I got Phillies in 6. 1-5-7. Maybe right now it's maybe Nola is the guy to do that. And again, it makes my life as a fan so easy to just sit back and go, I trust Rob Thompson will make the right decision. Like I don't even have to like sweat it because it's like whatever I think doesn't matter.
what if Rob Thompson hadn't had the foresight to have Ranger also warming up in case Robertson stuttered? You can make an argument like, wow, he didn't put Alvarado back in for the ninth. He trusts Robertson and he's just walking everybody. No, he had Ranger ready for Grisham, and obviously that worked out extremely well. So like he doesn't just think for today or this inning. He thinks ahead. He's got a plan. He trusts Caleb Cotham. He trusts his guys. And so like that coaching staff, yeah, Philly Rob makes the final call, but that coaching staff has made very few errors in judgment since June. I mean, like, obviously September didn't go their way, but shoot, it never does. They hung on by the skin of their teeth. I have no issues if they do go with Knowles. I have no issues. Obviously, with Wheels, it's like, okay, I got confidence in my guy, but Nola's so fresh. He could give you 7. That sets you up for, Alvarado Dominguez, good night, and then game 2, Wheeler, like you said, I didn't even think about that. You steal game 1, then you got Wheels in game 2. That's got to give you the utmost confidence. And I said it earlier, split in Houston, win 2 out of 3 in Philly, and now all of a sudden you're back in Houston with 2 to go, and all you got to do is win 1, and you're world champions. World bleeping champions.
Denver, I'm trying to do a show, bud. Come on up. He's been banging at the door literally since we went on. He's just been. I saw your cat in the background. I figured it was cool. Yeah, I was like, all right, we dude, it's the Top Cats. The Philly. We had Sammy. She was the underdog for the play. Now we got the Top Cats running for the Phillies. So
I didn't even know my cats were
both. Just the your
orange one or the gray one.
Yeah, your gray one. Yeah.
Cool.
I know it's Macy and Rue.
Yeah, Macy's the great one.
Okay, yeah. Oh,
Steve Mason.
Why did I even think? No, I remember. No,
Rue is the redhead, of course.
Yeah, why did I even think?
Yeah. Steve Mason and Claude Giroux. Yes, I named my cats after Flyers.
Yeah,
they're 8 years old. They're my. That's what's up.
That's
what's in.
we haven't even got to those guys yet.
God, I hope they're okay right now.
I actually love. We got a few comments on Facebook going, "Oh, they weren't okay before the Padres." So I don't know why. Like 3 or 4, and it made me laugh every time I read it.
Can you imagine like how that all happened? Like one guy had to start the text thread and be like, "This is a good idea. We should do this." And then 6 other guys were like, "Yeah, and you're onto something." And that's what's in. And like then they got cameras, and once you get the cameras, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah, between that, the mural stomping on the Philly Fanatic, I mean,
the goose,
bleep around and find out.
The Phillies slogan in 2007 was goosebumps, and they had this whole ad campaign where like Aaron Rowan was in the clubhouse and he had all these goosebumps. He's like showing Ryan Howard, he's like, "See my goosebumps," and Ryan's like, "Get away from me, dude." Like, I'll never forget that commercial. Don't give me goosebumps for the Padres, and it's a literal goose. Get the goose out of here, man. They had the stupid fake goose in the dugout. They put it in the puddle when it was raining. Give me a break. Stupid.
Yeah. And if there's any goose, it's the Wawa goose, and that's us too.
Yeah, Schwarberfest, baby.
Absolutely. Shout out to Wawa. No, free
Yeah.
free advertisement here. But they put on Schwerberfest, and all of a sudden the dude just lights it back up. And shout out to the websites that I don't want to mention, but like they were the ones saying making the tweets and saying it. So props to them. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, and man, from Gene Segura's ninth inning hit in Game One, to where that it from there it's like the magic started and it just has not ended. And even just when we were down the other night, I even made it in a post, which is very unlike me to do, but I said we ain't losing. Like I just channeled that Bryce Hart, and then he hits the home run, and I was like, yeah, maybe sometimes we call our own shots, but uh, it's it's just been I just don't want it to end. We got 4 more wins, and now you got again Houston. It'll be really interesting to see how these specifically Game One starter lines up, because that'll set the tone for the rest of the season. Justin Verlander, I mean, I forget, I don't have the stats in front of me, but Justin Verlander has struggled in the World Series.
He's like
So
0-6 with like a 5-something ERA, something like that.
bring that energy. Lead off home run with Kyle Schwarber. You just get at him, get early and often. Like I said, I I weirdly see. I still see this Phillies in 6, but I think they come out of it. Dare I say 2-0. I know. Look, it's a wild statement. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I just look. The Astros are good. Let me get this clear. Let me not sound like just a rah Phillies fans. What 106 games I think they won. They're 7-0 in the playoffs. Have not lost a game against the American League's top competition. They just beat the Yankees.
They came back down 7-1 against the Mariners, by the way,
Played an
in
eight
game one.
played played an 18 inning game. So yeah, it's been a wild run for them, and for every Philly fan that's drawing up the magic for the Phillies, the Astros fans are rightfully doing it for themselves, and the Astros are in a bit of a mini dynasty as they've gotten here so many times. They've only won it
Once.
once.
Well, and that was trash can year against the Dodgers, 2017.
It's it'll be interesting to see. Now there's gonna be a lot of they're gonna be banging no trash cans in Citizens Bank Park. It's gonna be a lot of noise there.
Citizens Bank Park, one of the few parks that the Astros have not played in since the cheating scandal has come out. So I think there's only been 7 ballparks the Astros haven't been to, and Philly's one of them. So we haven't yet greeted them since the whole cheating scandal. So I'm sure there will be some folks, but
ask A-Rod what we thought about cheaters.
They were down 3-0 against the Yankees in Game 4 after that game was delayed after the Phils had clinched, and they came back down 3-0. Then the Yankees took a 4-3 lead. Then they came back and did it again and won and swept them. They swept the New York Yankees. They swept the Mariners, including an 18-inning game and being down 7-1. You want to talk about resiliency? The Astros have faced it. They have so much pitching depth. It is insane. I would imagine they go Verlander Game 1, who, like you said, maybe I said, I don't remember, 0-6, 5.86 or 5.68 ERA in his last in all of his World Series games. The Astros have lost 6 of 7 in the World Series at home, so they're struggling, if you will, in the biggest stage of them all. But at the same time, you got Verlander, you got Framber Valdez, who threw a quality start in every single one of his starts this year. That's right, every single one. I think it was actually 26 or 27 straight, 6 innings or more and 3 runs or less. You want to talk about consistency? That guy's got it, and he's a lefty. Phillies do hit lefties, but still, he's scary. You have Christian Javier. You have Lance McCullers. This team has so much pitching that it's going to be a rough ride. I would imagine we get some 4-3 ball games. You got to get to the bullpen, which, by the way, only has Hector Neris, Montero, Presley. So, and there's another kid I'm forgetting who's lights out. Their bullpen's disgusting. Our bullpen's 3 deep.
So. One thing I can say about their bullpen, though, is a lack of lefties. You think the Phillies?
Trying to think
the Phillies can take advantage of that? It looks like
But the
You got
Phillies hit lefties well, so I'm almost like, Schwarber.
so I'm thinking Schwarber, Hart. You're right. Yeah, they did. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the ALCS roster, and Valdez, Framber Valdez, was their only left-handed pitcher. Um,
Really, they didn't have
so
anybody
I'd
other.
imagine I forget who they.
Who were their starters?
Uh,
McCullers. It was McCullers. It was Javier. It was Framber Valdez. It was Verlander. I'm forgetting the fifth starter for Houston off
Luis
the top of my
Garcia.
head. Well, he was a swing man. Like he had a lot of starts. Then he came out of the bullpen for a lot. Him and Javier had pretty similar roles, but equally can be nasty, especially Christian Javier. That kid can strike out literally anyone at any time. Oh man, they can just pitch like crazy. I think the thing that gives us the advantage is they've never pitched here. Neris has, but that's really it. They haven't pitched at the bank. They haven't pitched in front of this raucous crowd in a cold November or late October night. Like it'll be game 3 will be Halloween. So game 4 and 5 will be technically in November. You want to talk about a crisp, cold November night in Philly, insane weather. The Astros play in a dome. The roof can open, but they play in a dome and Houston's never cold. So like that is a slight advantage for us as well. So like splitting in Houston is just so paramount. I can't stress that enough.
It'll happen.
Oh man,
Not to sound overconfident. It'll, like I said,
the Phillies in game 1 are incredible.
I think
though.
we might get a little bit more. I still think Phillies in 6. I'm not trying to, but I'm feeling really good about our aces in whatever
Ryan
order
Stanek, thank you.
in
Philly,
whatever
thank
they order they come. I'm feeling really good about our aces this year. This year. I think Nola is just ready to get after it. When you think about it,
he's upset about that last start.
yeah, and it was simply because he didn't have his fastball last game. And it just,
but he did have a 4-0 lead.
Yeah,
So you'd hope that would be enough, but it wasn't.
Yeah, so it's you're just you got to see what you can get out of these guys, but I think you're gonna get a lot. And again, it's like Friday can't get here early enough.
What am I doing with myself? It's Tuesday night. I'm like, there's nothing. There's no hockey. There's no basketball. There's no football. Like what am I doing to occupy my mind? I'm going insane.
Yeah, even yesterday watching the Sixers, I'm like, man, I just it's not
I watched
the energy
Monday Night
I
Football.
want right now.
I watched Bears Patriots. Like I made that decision.
The one,
in my
and
life.
real quick, I could sneak the Sixers minute in real quick. The one positive I've seen through 4 games is James Harden. He's looked in much better form this year. He's hitting that step back 3 with ease. I think he was pretty close to a triple-double last night in their first win. So right now he's the big positive out of that team. So
I drafted him on my fantasy team, so you're all welcome.
yeah, you need it.
Number 6 overall. You're welcome.
There you go.
Joel Trowell went number 2.
I don't remember. Like I don't know enough about fantasy basketball to be like, oh, that's a good value. Like,
I don't either.
I'd go with
I don't
my
know
guys.
basketball.
That's what I'd
I
go
don't. How much do I know basketball? Dinky doo.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean,
I came in 4th
sports,
last year out of 14 person league. I came in 4th, and I'm 1-0 so far this year. So, I'm off to a rocking start. I literally pick dudes I've heard of. And that's it. And then the back half of the draft, I just based it on ADP. So anyway, we're not here to talk fantasy basketball.
Not
yet. I haven't given a prediction yet. You've kind of let it slip a couple times. You're thinking Phil's in 6. Now, does that mean, because you're saying there's a possibility to go 2-0, so that means that they lose 2 in Philly.
It's certainly a possibility.
Well, if so facto, if you're telling me what's going on, then they would lose 2 in Philly.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm not predicting they go 2-0 coming out, but I am predicting Phillies in 6.
So you're thinking split 2 of 3, and then they win Game 6. That's
yeah,
I mean,
it's that or what you said before. I could
they
see
win.
I could see a world where Boston. Oh, we got a sub from Bill. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. But it's I can see a world where Houston comes in and disrupts the order. And look, if we put a shock to their system by going 2-0, it's quite possible that they come back and counter. But Houston's a good team. This is not going to be an easy series. The most likely outcome, just to get something solid out of me, I would say, yeah, they split. Split in Houston, probably go 2-1 here in Philly, and then you close it out.
Win both Wheeler and Nola starts in your world champions.
That's
Ride
like
your aces. Ride your aces in
that's
your world
honestly
champion.
what I feel best about this this series is I think it's going to be a series where both of them kind of lock things down, and Nola's hungry, and
Yeah.
especially if he's getting that game one start. He's hungry, and let's not like Nola in his first his first two start outings were like he was untouchable through five.
Literally. Yeah. Yeah.
So
And go back to the Houston start too if you want to go back to his last three.
yeah,
Obviously, he was literally unhittable in that, and that was against Houston.
he's been locked in, and I'm not gonna let the like one outlier kind of like shake my confidence in Nola. I hope he feels just the same way, where he's got to be feeling pretty good about his stuff. And look, he didn't even have his greatest stuff, and he was at least fighting in the game against San Diego.
Altuve's been struggling pretty mightily. He's hitting under 100 this postseason. Jordan Alvarez, their big bopper in the middle of the lineup. He, outside of that walk-off he had against the Mariners, he's been struggling. He's hit like 240 this playoffs. Jeremy Pena, rookie shortstop, ALCS MVP. He's been on fire, hitting over 300. Alex Bregman. He can take a yard at any time. Kyle Tucker, same thing. He's a big lefty stick, just like Alvarez. Like, you want to talk about scared with two righties in Nola and Wheeler. That's where I'm scared of Tucker and Alvarez taking them deep oppo taco in that short porch, that joke of a porch in left field in Houston. That's a little bit scary. Tucker's been struggling from a batting average perspective, but he could take a yard at any time. Yuri Gurriel at first base, Trey Mancini DH. Trey Mancini doesn't have a hit in the playoffs. He struggled mightily since coming over from the Orioles at the trade deadline. And then it's like Chas McCormick and Martin Maldonado or Christian Vasquez behind the plate. Great defensively. I'm not scared offensively. So if you get through the top five in the order, I'm not scared 6 through 9. Whereas the Phillies, 6 through 9 is Bohm, Stott, Segura, Marsh. I think that's light years better than the Astros. So I think we have a deeper lineup, but give me the Astros top 5 over basically any top 5 outside of the Dodgers in all of baseball. So we're going to be struggling that second or third time through the order. You might be nothing going into the fourth. And once you hit that second time through the order, that's where the cream's got to rise. That's where Schwarbo and Harper, even Castellanos. Is Castellanos ever going to hit a freaking homer in the playoffs? He needs to rise.
That's all
he
I
needs
ask.
to rise.
Just give me a homer now. He's had his moments. Let's give him some credit.
Of course.
But now
he swings at everything.
Like when I need you to connect and hit a home run to like really let me show you've arrived, and it's getting pretty late in the season.
Yeah.
So yeah, at this point, I just look, not necessarily complaining about Castellanos, but that's when I'll know that we're doing something if he puts one over. You mentioned it, the fence is short enough in left field. So
Reese, that's Reese Hoskins like all day. That's Harper all day. JT, like these guys. This ballpark is built. The Houston ballpark specifically is built Minute Maid for the Phils lineup. It builds real well. I mean, Castellanos just has to get one in the air to left field, which he doesn't do very often. So like he needs to do that. Where was that? I remember his first game in spring training as a Philly. He hit one over Frenchie's in left. Like, he tattooed a baseball. I don't think it had any stitching left. Where's that guy? I need that guy for just 7 games. That's all I need you for. And then you can go back to doing whatever. We'll pay you your $20 million in 2023 as a new year, and we'll figure it out from there. He's got to show up. Like, he's an X factor of this series. Martin Maldonado, Christian Vasquez, both incredible defenders. The Phillies are a really good running team. They have a ton of success in the stolen base categories. It's going to be tough to come by. Stealing in the World Series is already such a, like, every out matters so much. But like on top of that, JT and Maldonado, 2 of the best in the business when it comes to defensive catcher. So I don't see a ton of stolen bases happening this series. So I really feel like something that Darvish is great at not giving up back-to-back hit after hit. It's the long ball. Like if the Phillies can manufacture runs and get hit after hit, they have an incredible advantage. This team can go yard at any time, but so can Houston. It's really about what can 1 through 5 do. I'm not asking them to hit 500 like they did the other night. I'm just asking them to string together some hits, because if I see another leadoff double with that runner stranded at second again, I'm going to lose my mind.
What do you got to say, Denver? Nothing. I tried to push him off, and he dug all of his claws into me while you were doing that. So, but oh man, I mean the stage is set. What else can you say?
I still haven't given my prediction.
It's look, where are we at?
We're an hour, or almost an hour in 40 minutes.
We're getting there. Do you have a prediction? Is it time yet?
Oh, I do.
Is it time?
I do. You're the host. Is there anything else you want to cover, or should I go to my prediction? I mean, heck, we can talk more after the prediction. It's not like it needs to be the end, but I do have a prediction.
We covered the roster. We talked the lineup. I think it's. We haven't talked about how we've been kind of blessed with 8:00 start times every night. On top of which, we have 2 off days, and they're both going to be Eagles games.
Yeah. I hate the 8:00 start, just as like an old curmudgeon, but because like we put the kids to bed at 7:30, so I should be like ready to be locked in front of my TV by 8 every game, which is a blessing. I'll give you that.
Yeah, home they could have thrown us the 7:00 start, but for consistency, and I think making it easy on everyone, just nationwide, they just know it's this time.
It's prime time.
It's
prime time.
Every night. So it's on, and dare I say, I think the Philadelphia Phillies are going to be the fan favorites here, because unless you're in Houston, who the hell is rooting for cheaters?
Ain't nobody. But I will say
you have to really hate the city of Philadelphia to root for cheaters.
It is supposed to rain all 3 days of the Phils games in Philly. So
perfect.
That would also play into our hands a little bit unless Sir Anthony's on the mound, because him and the rain don't get along very well.
I just remember 08 and the rain and the stoppage, and perfect. Whatever.
Yeah.
We'll deal with it.
There's that. So this series is going 7. That's what I truly do believe. I'm not trying to buy or build any hype. My heart says Phillies in 7. My head says Astros in 7. So I'm going to go with the Houston Astros in 7 games. But this ain't War Room Houston. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is War Room Philly. I truly believe the Phillies can win the World Series. I truly do. And it would not shock me in the least if they do. And boy, I will just be crying and crying and crying, just like I did when they beat the Cards, and when they beat the Braves, and when they beat the Padres, and when I watch old video yearbooks from 2002 to 2019, like I do every year. The Phillies are my favorite thing on planet Earth. This is why I watch 160 games a year, 30,000 minutes of Phillies baseball every summer. That's not even including that I have the baseball package to watch every other game. I watched 50 Astros games probably this year. I love this team, and I think they can win. I'm not going to count them out, but I am going to go Astros in 7.
That's a Fugazi pick. He's psyching himself out, Chad. He doesn't want to do it.
Either you're right or I did reverse psychology. Either way, you're a winner.
I love it. Yeah, to your point, like even today, and a point that I forgot to mention during the show. Not that we're over it, but like during the earlier in the show, I mean, Aaron Nola, like we're talking about going back and forth between game 1 starter and I'm thinking, man, Aaron Nola, and then I'm like, wait, Aaron Nola, game 1 World Series starter, the longest tenured Philadelphia Philly. I gotta go step outside. I couldn't control myself. So it's
and Eflin gets the save, the second longest tenure.
The emotion, just it's there, and it's.
Can I tell you why I think it'll be Astros in 7?
No.
Truthfully,
go ahead.
Ranger Suarez is starting that game. and he'll start it against Christian Vasquez and Lance McCullers. Like it'll be a piggyback situation of those two dudes. And it's like your chance to win it is in 6. If the Phils win it, like it should be in 6 because like you said, you got your aces going in 1, 2, and 5 and 6. In game 7, you could go back to Knowles if he starts game 1 and 5. You can go Ranger, 2 turns through the order, get you 4 or 5, then go Nola, Eflin, Alvarado, Dominguez, and you could piece together that. Hell, both bullpen games they had so far this playoffs, they won. And they won Rangers' first start against Max freaking Fried in Atlanta to kick off the NLDS. So they could do it. But when you talk about you lost at least one of your Wheeler Nola starts, Game 7 with Ranger on the mound, as cool and calm as collected as he is, the pitching advantage is just simply in the Astros' favor. So I would just give it to them for that alone.
Yeah.
Just logic.
That's why I like Phillies in 6. However, just to be the Phillies fan and counter that point, I like our bets. So don't count the Phillies out if they go to 7. But look, this is going to be a grueling series. Like, look, the Phillies just won in 5 against San Diego, but like a few bounces go here and there, and that's a longer series. Like, that was not an easy 5-game series. It was a grueling task to take them down every game to get all 27 of those outs. And guess what? It is going to get a lot harder in this series to come. The ghosts in the infield, they need to vanish. You can't be getting eaten up by these errors anymore.
Yeah. A Rhys Hoskins bouncer misplayed at first will come back to bite you, whereas maybe it wouldn't against these other teams we've played.
Yeah,
Houston will make you pay for it.
The difference between Houston and the Padres are the Padres maybe score 1, the Houston score 3 to 7.
To 7.
Like,
yeah, they pound on.
They do, like, just ask the Yankees, man. The Yankees would make a mistake, and instead of getting 1 run, they get 3, they get 4. Like,
Bader drops the ball in center. Like, they, for whatever reason, Josh Donaldson still plays baseball. Like, there are tons of things the Yankees did wrong, but Houston made them pay every time, literally, because they swept them. So, I mean, like, they went into Yankee Stadium and won 2 games, even though tickets were $17 and it was raining in an hour and a half, delay. They did it, and they came back down 3-0. This is a team on a roll. They've got a ton of swagger, but so do the Phils. 9-2 is nothing to squawk at. 5-0 at the bank, nothing to squawk at. I think if the Phillies win it, it's in 6. If it goes 7, it's got to be Houston. So that's my thing. Like, okay, if it goes 6, I pick Phils. If it goes 7, I pick Astros. I don't think that's so illogical, but I do think the series goes 7 games.
Yeah, it's kind of how it's how I phrased it. In the Cardinals series, I was like, look, it's either Phillies in 2 or it's Cardinals in 3.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure the audience wants us to sit here and drum up reasons why the Phillies will sweep, and draw that conclusion. Right? We could do it. It just wouldn't be authentic. I'm here to give you
because Schwarber through March they can hit. And look, we've talked about it. And look, to Sam, like in our group chat, Sam Matoro, co-host of the We Podcast and We Know Things. He's got Phillies in 5, and I go, dude, I hope you're right. Like, and then I start giving him reasons why he could be right. If the Padres,
well, that man hasn't watched an Astros game ever, so he has no idea what we're up against.
If the Phillies can go in and take 2 in Houston, then that Phillies in 5s looks a lot sexier. Yes. So but again, it's Houston's going to be able to deal with the elements. They've been here before. The best thing that I got for the Phillies outside of all those other reasons is they want it more.
Yes, they do. And Houston's lost their last 2 World Series, and their last World Series win was the cheating scandal. So they do have a massive chip on their shoulder, but no bigger than we haven't been to the playoffs in 11 years. Nobody believed we even belonged here. That this team, with an interim manager that became the manager during the playoffs, the Phillies can write their own story and end it. They do have the want,
And they got Justin Verlander and they got Dusty Baker, and neither of them have good track records when it comes to World Series. So some say they're due. I say they're due to lose again. I could get a little rah-rah if you want it. But look, here's the thing. I just don't think that this isn't necessarily the series to go into like super chesty, but I do think that there are certain factors in it that play for us, and um,
I love
Phillies
I
in six.
love being the road team first. I love giving the other team home
with
field
this
advantage.
team, with this team, with
Yeah,
Kyle Schwarber as your leadoff, it works for us.
it
It just
does.
absolutely works for us. And 6 and 7 to have the deciders, at or away in this case, we'll see. But like, man, it just
But the Phils
you
showed they could clinch a series on the road. They did it against St. Louis.
you build momentum here. Yeah.
I just truly believe, like with a guy like Shorbo at the top of the lineup, anything's possible for a 1-0 quick lead. Like, I love the idea of hitting first and setting the tone. Obviously, that could backfire on you. Get Bryce to the plate in the first inning. Like, that to me is the ultimate goal the Phillies need to have for every single first inning in this series is get Bryce to the plate, because when we do, that means somebody's on or we're already on the board because he's our new cleanup guy. So, like, that's uber important to not have Bryce lead off the second inning again. So, big time deal. The guy's made for this moment. We haven't really even talked about him this show too much. Like, God, what an incredible free agent contract. What an incredible player. He's risen above his $26 million AAV. He's risen above every expectation we've had. He is a superstar playing at a superstar level. He has cemented his Hall of Fame case. And the thing that he needs to do now is get the ring that the Nationals won the year he left. It's time for Bryce to get his ring and cement that he is not the most overrated player in baseball as voted by the players. He is the best player in baseball. I cannot wait to see what he does this series. He could be, I mean, I said Castellanos was an X factor because he needs to show up. But Bryce, if he just does what he did, this is going to be an incredible ride. This guy deserves every piece of praise we've been giving him.
And just exactly what did he do? Oh, just a 419 batting average, 6 doubles, 5 home runs, one being the most or second most clutch hit in
Hit in
Phillies
Phillies playoff.
history.
Yeah.
11 RBIs and a 1.35
OPS.
OPS.
A
Phillies in
1350.
six. What up, Joe? Who says we are going to the World Series? We absolutely are. And I agree, Joe. Phillies in six. Speak that shit into existence.
I can't believe it. This is just a wild ride. It's just a wild ride.
Yep. Yeah.
It was either last season or the season before. I think it was last season that I bet Joe that the Phillies would have a winning record or that they would make the play. I can't remember. And now just a year or two later, we're in the World Series. We were battling for mediocrity. Now we're in the World Series.
Yep. And he says all the Bryce haters can shut the bleep up. So Joe's already feeling it. Joe's already primed and ready for Friday.
He's in the fourth inning of game one already.
I love it. Joe comes right into chat and he's just already there.
Yeah, I love that. I love
the
that
energy. That's that Philadelphia energy that Joe brings to chat every time he's here. Absolutely, Phillies in six though. I love it.
Who's your like? I guess you could go with bomb player of the series, but like, give me the most important starter, the most important reliever, the most important hitter for you in this series. I think some answers are obvious, but I still need to hear them. And maybe like not Bryce, not the Aces, not Sir Anthony. Like, give me some of those, like, I guess, lesser who could step up and rise to an occasion that's not already there.
Gene. If you want underlings, it's either going to be Gene or Stott.
Stotty's just got ice in his veins, man.
Your middle infield. That's where I think you get the clutch hits from that you're maybe not expecting but need. No disrespect to Bohm. I think Castellanos hits at least one home run this series.
I would love him to do it. I would love him to do it in Philly just because like the place would erupt for him. We want to love him.
Yeah,
I think he needs to know that. We want to love him so much. He's got 4 more years at $20 million a year. He ain't going anywhere. He's at the lowest trade value he's ever going to have. So he's here. We want to love him and watch him succeed. Where's the guy that stood over the plate? Where's the guy that unbuttons all the way down and we can see his chest? I want to see that swag, that guy come out. And if he hits a tank shot, in CBP, the place will erupt for him, and he'll finally feel the love that quite frankly we want to show him. Boy,
Yeah,
what a
let's
great
face it.
time!
Like, uh, this place would have done outwardly dirty things to him had he had that performance um, that he had in game
One,
2-1
one,
of the
one. Yep.
playoffs.
Oh,
So
against the
and
Braves, the DS.
yeah, absolutely. So like the 3 hits, the game saving run. I don't know why I just got the hiccups though. It's this is a fun time to be alive. Um, so yeah, but yeah, just going back to the pitching though. Pitching's a little harder to predict outside of the big guys.
You're
Especially
telling me Kyle Gibson isn't your X factor?
no, no. Um,
It's got to be Ranger, right? I mean, like it's got. I can't wait to see World Series Ranger. Like the just calm, cool, and collected.
gonna
He's the best fielding pitcher in the sport, but he was 3 innings short of qualifying for a Gold Glove, which is a sham. He's the Gold Glove
the
winner.
Phillies have 2 really young players on the team that their heart rate doesn't seem to fluctuate. And these two being Ranger Suarez and Bryson Stott.
Yeah.
These guys are just cool as ice. So yeah, I mean Ranger is the X factor as far as if guys not named Nola and Wheeler. Um, as far as the bullpen goes, you're gonna need someone to step it up. Um, I think Alvarado continues to just go on this little tear that he's on. You could say that he's the guy. I think Sir Anthony Dominguez is still locked in. I don't, I kind of throw away that inning that he had against San Diego because those conditions. I mean, any other day that's a rain delay. But they're just trying to squeak that game in. You can't blame them for it. So both teams had to deal with it. Um,
See, my bullpen X factors aren't those guys. It's got to be Eflin and Robertson
yeah,
because we're not going to win the
that's a
series.
great point. Yeah.
We're not going to win the series without them.
Yeah,
They
I
need
guess
to be
X
there.
Factor. Yeah, that's a better. If you're talking X Factor, um,
If
yeah,
Robertson does what he did in the ninth, it's over. If Eflin's throwing 94 and putting, getting 2 quick outs and then putting guys on base, it's over. You know what I mean? Like this is a bullpen that isn't as deep as Houston's. It's not as deep as San Diego's, quite frankly. So you need your 6th and 7th inning guy to show up, and that has to be. I don't want to see Brad Hand in this series. If we do, it's bad. If we see Kyle Gibson, it's bad. If we see Connor Brogdon, it's we're trying to salvage because he's a good 6th inning guy. So like we need that could be your X factor, but I don't
he's.
think they're gonna give him the
I
high
thought
leverage.
about it. I can't go there with Brogdon until I say it because I already pumped him up once and have been
I
let
love
down.
Connor Brogdon, man. I'm such a
I
Brogdon
called him
lover.
at I think 2 years ago. I called him the future or the closer of the future.
Me too.
So I feel some type of way about giving him any credit. However, his last 2 outings have looked better.
His changeup is just it's so Madsen-esque.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite Philly of all time, Ryan Madsen.
His
You know,
his like delivery is
yeah,
a little bit mad. He's got that tall, lanky right-hander kind of feel
yeah.
to him.
Madsen kind of flung it like a pitching machine, where he has like more of a traditional delivery, but still, every pitch comes out of the same slot, so that changeup like just almost feels like it just drifts in there. It's just a beautiful thing to watch, kind of like an Alvarado cutter that just like middle of the zone, gone. I love watching pitching. Such a nerd about it, but yeah, that's your X factor for me is Eflin and Robertson in those that 7th inning role because that's where games are won and lost. Quite frankly, third time through the order, like starters are on the ropes, got to get in there and get out of a jam. That's your guy. Like Eflin, that double play ball to Josh Bell, that was literally the closest play possible, and then Bell trips over the base. That game is different because there was only one out. If Bell is safe and beats that out, a run scores. It's a different ball game. Like that's the Eflin we need. The ground ball, hit it hard, but right at somebody. Let's get out of the inning, boys. And that's where your defense needs to show up. I think somebody in chat puts it right. Like the same year that the DH comes to the National League is the same year that they add another playoff team. And without those two things coming together, we aren't here. And like it's a beautiful thing that we are. We would probably be a 70-win ball club if Harper's on the shelf the entire season without the DH. So
Oh
many
yeah,
things had to
if
go
we're
right.
going back that far, for all the times I patted on myself for being right today, I said at that point, let's just shut Harper down and
Yeah.
put him. Let's just get him ready for everything.
I would also have made the argument, and I would have said this in December as well. Uh, we don't sign Castellanos and Schwarber though if the DH wasn't a thing. We wouldn't have done that to
Yeah.
ourselves because then Bryce would have had to play center field, and that's just not a thing. So yeah, our whole team would have been different, and we probably would have been saving up for like Trey Turner, which we probably are going to anyway in the offseason. That's a different conversation. Maybe in 2 weeks we'll have that conversation about what
Yeah,
the
yeah.
offseason looks like. But let's just enjoy this ride. I mean, it's been forever. We deserve it. You and Keith and you guys deserve it because you do a show every week through the thick and thin, through the crappiest Phillies years we've almost lived through. Um, to be here is just such a crazy, wild ride. And to see how much the city has embraced this team. Like, that's another thing that is so under under talked about, I guess. They freaking broke the record for most merchandise sold in 24 hours. They literally broke the record. This city is a baseball city. It's just got to have a baseball team to be there, and not just a team that for a decade trotted out Michael Martinez and Cody Ashe and Luis Garcia, who is now a great reliever for the Padres. Like, this is our time. The city's back. What this means for the future is immeasurable, which is awesome. But we'll get there when we get there. Let's enjoy this next 2 weeks. Let's go win ourselves a ring.
Yeah, and just to your point, I think we get this nutty about any of the teams. We saw not too long ago how crazy this went for obviously it was the first one too with the Eagles Super Bowl. We've seen this a couple of
2010
times now
Flyers.
with
2010 Flyers.
with the Phillies, the 2010 Flyers. If you give this team a root for, everyone gets on real fast. Because it's just like, how do you not share in the excitement of your neighbor? Like, everyone at my work is coming in wearing red now, and I'm not the only one, and I'm not just like the weirdo not wearing my work shirt. Now everyone's wearing it, and it's like this thing that it's like, and I like you said, I don't, just because I'm here every day. You want to watch 60 of 162? You want to watch just the playoffs? That's fine by me. Just maybe let me breathe a little while the game's on. But this is on board for everyone, and I mean, I dare the Sixers to actually develop a spine and go on a run of their own. Like, this town will be, we've never seen it. I mean, we were in sixth grade or
1980.
seventh grade, like for
1980.
for
All the teams made the playoffs or the championship.
the only time in '01 when we got to see anything like a real Sixers run. Any of these runs recently have been dead in the second round. But you can even see just in these few years the hype for the Sixers. So this is, sure, it's a baseball town, it's a football town, it's whatever town,
It's a sports town.
whatever team is winning, that's our favorite team.
It's a sports town.
And yeah, it just so happens right now you have an Eagles team that's undefeated, and a Phillies team that's in the World Series. I can't believe
and
a Major League Soccer team right in the thick of it. 2 wins away?
Two wins away from a title. First ever MLS Cup.
So I said right in the thick of it so I could buy my time to, in my brain, remember where they were. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. Like, I'm excited for everyone. Like you said, look, I'm not a soccer fan, but I want the Union to win because I want my soccer fans to be happy.
Are you going to watch on Sunday night?
Should I?
You watched the bubble when they came out of that and they were the first team back that tournament.
I tried.
You watched then and they won.
All right, I'll put them on. I'll give them a monitor.
Sunday night at 8:00. What you doing? House of the Dragon's done. The Sunday night football game is whatever. Unless you have fantasy or gambling stakes in it, it's not the Birds.
I'll be recouping from three days of intense games. But I'll try to.
Joe Heston, go back and watch the VOD when we're done. We started the show with the Union Minute, and then we went right to the NOLA Game 1 discussion. So all the things you're asking for in chat, we covered. So if you just go watch the VOD when this is done, you'll be able to get all that quick.
Absolutely, yeah. And now we're gonna kind of just transition it into a little bit of Birds talk as we wrap this thing up.
Go Phils.
But absolutely go Phils. Like we were just talking about an undefeated Eagles team, and it's it's insane that it's December 25th and it took us where are we at in the show? An hour and 10 minutes to basically bring up the Eagles outside of acknowledging them in the open. Um, but man, when your team's in the World Series, it doesn't happen often. So we could talk a little Eagles now. And by the way, not the most hype matchup coming up here. The 2-5 Pittsburgh Steelers.
They just beat the Bucks.
Yeah.
They
So
just beat the Bucks.
honestly, works better in my favor. They got their surprise win out of the way. Now the Eagles are going to come in and mop the floor up with them. Pickett is going to be picketing himself up off of the ground quite often. I think that this defense is going to get after it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like flowing in all the emotions, but I think it's going to be a blowout against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, we got our bye week. You know what I mean? Like, that's another thing. We're coming off the bye.
You
We're
prepared
healthy.
2 weeks for what it could be another bye week.
Hey, Najee Harris is like one of their biggest weapons, and he's been pretty terrible this entire season so far. He's healthy now, and he had his second best game last week, so he's coming around. Pickens is a darn good wide receiver. Deontay Johnson, Claypool, like they have weapons. Freiermuth and the Eagles struggle against the tight ends, so like they have a lot of weapons. But when those weapons don't have anybody to throw them the football accurately, it's going to be a long day at the yard. And so, like, though, and the Steelers' offensive line, one of the worst in all of football. That matchup is so in the Eagles' favor on both sides of the ball, both lines. The Eagles can dominate that game in the trenches on both sides. So I have this a 9 to 13 point win. Like it's going to be easy. I also feel like this is the tonic. The Steelers are going to be the tonic for the Eagles to solve one of their two big issues, because this is not a perfect football team. They have two big issues, one of them being special teams, the other being second half performance and kind of keeping the groundwork that is laid in that second quarter that they've just dominated so much. I think one of those two things is solved this week, and I think it's the second half performance. I think they put up some points in both the third and fourth quarter. They ice it pretty early. Pittsburgh scores a useless touchdown to put it within 2 scores, but the Eagles are going to win by somewhere between 9 and 13.
I wonder if the Eagles' most recent addition helps out the other half of that in Greg Ward Jr. coming back to the practice squad. Obviously, they can elevate him 3 times before having to make him an actual roster spot.
Subject to waivers at that point.
Yeah.
Covey just hasn't been great.
And it's one, like, he's not even making the decisions correctly. Like, it's one thing to not be getting positive yards, but he's letting balls drop that he shouldn't. It's bad, and the special teams has definitely taken a hit without Dave Phipp at the helm. Like, I'm glad I was actually writing it down as you mentioned it. It's been. I guess it's a good thing to complain about when you're like the special teams is the weakness of this team. Obviously, the second half is also a big thing. My biggest defense to the second half scoring thing is they've done it when they need to. Against the Cowboys, like I know there was a lot of talk against the Cowboys where you didn't score a lot, but like when you look at what the Cowboys did offensively, they had the ball for a really long time, and you got that ball. When you did have it, you went down there and had that really long drive and scored a touchdown, and kind of put that game away. So I get it. You want to see second half scoring. You have to score more than just the second quarter. My biggest retort to that is I'll worry about it when they're not scoring. I'll take the points wherever they come, but as long as they're coming and they're winning, I'll be happy about it. But I get it. It's definitely worth noting. But yeah, the other thing, I do hope that they can. It seems like it's such a simple thing to fix the special teams. I'm one player isn't going to fix it, but at least on the punt returns and kick returns, Greg Ward Jr. coming in, you got at least 3 weeks before you can figure it out. But yeah, I mean, I don't really see special teams killing you against the 2-5 Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think Howie saw an opportunity with this particular season, and he went all in, and he's cashed. I mean, James Bradbury has been so phenomenal, just like absolutely phenomenal. You have a cheap quarterback still, and you looked at the schedule ahead. We face darn near no scary quarterbacks the entire rest of the season. The schedule is kind of a cakewalk. I'm not saying 17-0, but I'm also not saying it's ill. It's like improbable. They could have a losing record the rest of the way, and they finish as like an 11-win team. Like this is a team that will make the playoffs. Howie also surveyed the rest of the NFC and got it right. The NFC is down bad this season. It is ugly. The Carolina Panthers could be in first place if the ball goes the right way this coming week. So like the North doesn't scare you because the Packers are they're just dead. The Vikes we already handled, and we'd play them in the link presumably again. So like there's that. The Giants are fugazi. We've already beaten Dallas, even though it was Cooper Rush. Like the NFC is not a great place this season. If you're going to be 6-0 one year, this is a pretty good year to do it, to go all in, because the teams that scare you are in the other conference: the Bills, the Chiefs, the New York
Chargers,
Jets.
maybe.
Nah, the
Yeah.
Chargers don't scare me. The Chargers have such a they're just Staley's terrible. Their defense isn't very good, but like the Chiefs do, the Bills do. We've already handled Jacksonville. We'll beat the Colts. We'll probably beat the Titans, but the Titans have won 4 in a row. It's like there are teams that scare you, but not until it would be the Super Bowl. And I'm again not saying that's where we're going to end up, but this is a year where you look at the rest of the NFC and I think to myself, oh man, yeah, you're right. The second half scoring needs to improve when we play the Packers. I don't know. They kind of stink right now. They have no weapons, and we'll see what the NFC looks like post trade deadline. The Packers are one trade away from getting a good receiver. Not like they already had one and traded him away, but like they're one trade away from getting a good receiver, and then they're back. The Bucks, they're one injury away from figuring it out again. So I mean, Mike Evans dropped a 65-yard touchdown, in the first quarter. So
Well,
like they're still a good team.
well, you mentioned trades, third and fourth round pick. That's what we hear the Eagles offered for Christian McCaffrey. Um, what do you make of him going out to San Fran? You're just talking about the East kind of being a little on the weak side. Does that are
They
they
lost their first game with him. So
are they a team that like is
and they
on the
just got beat
radar?
by the Falcons, dude. Like, and then they got beat like the Niners. Um, if Christian McCaffrey were to go to one team and it's a downgrade for him, it's the Niners. They don't throw the ball to the running backs. Their quarterback is still Jimmy Garoppolo. Debo Samuel's questionable. Kittle will never make it a full season, and Brandon Ayuk is a legitimate weapon, but doesn't scare you. So like, and their defense, while fantastic when healthy, isn't super healthy right now. In week 17, different 49ers team, probably the second best team in the NFC. The Rams, while not playing great right now, they don't care about draft pick capital. They might make a move to try and improve themselves. They might use Cam Akers as a chip to get a bigger piece and improve their roster. Stafford looks cooked right now, but again, in week 17, Packers, Bucks, Niners, Vikes, Rams, they could be there. Dallas, obviously, could be there, but the Eagles have the schedule in their favor. They have a very good quarterback who's playing lights out football. They finally have the best receiving core they've arguably ever had. This is a team that, come January could be making as much noise as the Phils are right now.
The Eagles, you mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's again, like I say, well, let's get to the playoffs and we'll go from there. But I kind of going into this season, I was like, look, your big three in the NFC are, I just see potential collapses in 1 to 3 of them. And right now we're seeing potential collapses in 1 to 3 of them. So yeah, like, we'll see where the Packers are at in what's that, week 13 or something.
12, I think.
Yeah, we'll see where they're at then. But this NFC's down, and your biggest competition might be right here in the division. I agree with you. I don't buy into the Giants thing. I think we'll be able to take care of them. I do buy into the Cowboys. I think they're a good team, and I think that they'll be even harder to face with Dak Prescott.
They were a goal line fumble away from losing to the Lions. The Lions were down 10-6, driving. Jamal Williams fumbled on the goal line, the go-ahead score, and then the Cowboys just capitalized and piled on and won 24-6. That could have been a very different game if Williams scores a touchdown there.
Yeah. So it's, to me, that's your biggest competition. It's going to be Dallas in the NFC. I thought that the Cardinals may have been able to put up a fight, but
Seattle's playing well.
they look like
Kenneth
they
Walker's been a
stink.
phenomenal,
I can't
phenomenal
take
running back.
them serious. I take Seattle as serious as I do the Giants. And
Yeah, I
if
know.
you,
Geno Smith's a fraud.
I
He's a
was gonna say,
fugazi.
just look at one position. That's all you got to know for me. When it comes to football, I keep things real simple. Who's the quarterback? All right, that team stinks.
Don't
That's
talk too much smack on him. He'll hit you.
that's
He'll punch you right in the face.
it's kind of why I don't I don't buy into, like, we were talking about the 49er. Jimmy Garoppolo, I think he stinks. Kirk Cousins, I think he stinks. Like,
Especially on a big stage. He
yeah,
stinks on a big stage. And Stafford's cooked, and Brady's 45, and Rodgers is cooked. Well, he's not cooked. He's 37 with no receivers, 38 with no. So, like, every
yeah.
team has some major flaws.
Rodgers doesn't seem like he's mentally committed to the things anymore. Like, he feels like he's just like
I mean, he
he
just got the bag, and then he lost his receiver.
yeah
He lost his
yeah
top guy.
yeah.
Like, it's a pretty big slap in the face.
So NFC's looking good for the Eagles right now. It's all, we'll see. Got a bomb player prediction against the Steelers.
The whole offensive and defensive line. Like, Hassan Reddick.
There you go.
I just think it's going to be a huge. Their offensive line. When I tell you it's bad, it's so bad. So, like, just pick somebody. Sweat, Hargrave could bust out this game. Cox could be vintage Fletcher Cox. BG. I'll go with Hassan because he's been so disruptive lately. Even though it doesn't always show up in the box score, especially against the Cowboys, he was very, very good. So I'm going to go ahead and say somebody on the D line, and it'll be Reddick.
Yeah, I love the pick. I'm not gonna lie. I actually was one of my picks. I was thinking about taking him this week. So you get the Anthony Pinto stamp of approval there.
Oh, thanks.
But I haven't really thought too much about. I usually do these on Sunday, but since we're here and I don't know if I'll have the just capability to do it Sunday with all the Phillies and everything. I'm gonna not have a voice. While we're here, let me see. Let me just look.
There'll be 2 games into the World Series by then. It could be 2-0, 1 or 1-1. I mean, like, it's Sunday's gonna
But
be
it won't be 0-2. I like where your head's at. It won't be 0-2 though.
I don't think it'll be 0-2. No, I think the Phillies can steal one in Houston.
Sometimes I just like to
They're gonna have to if it goes 7 games, right? No, they're not. They could lose all 4 in Houston and win all 3 in Philly, technically.
I'm gonna go with a crazy one this week.
Jordan Mailata, Jason Kelsey, Quez Watkins.
No, I went with Jason Kelsey weirdly. Like I took who did I take because it was of Jason Kelly? I took Kenneth Gainwell because I said he was going to score on the screen pass and make Jason Kelsey do the fat Batman that was that week. So I swung a miss on that. No, but I'm going to go TJ Edwards this week.
Wow, the old linebacker play, not Kaiser. That's crazy.
I thought like I said, I kind of was thinking even Reddick, but I'm gonna switch it up. And look, we're already getting into the territory where the big, like, I know I picked Cox, I know I picked BG already. So it's
Slay. We went Slay.
We're starting.
Bradbury could have a day.
I've been picking a lot more defense throughout the early weeks, but yeah, I think. Look, you could pick anybody on offense this week, and it'll probably work. I think a lot of people are going to bust out. Goddard could be a good pick against this defense.
Steelers are very good against the tight end. That's the one place where they shine, though.
Yeah, that's a good point. Devontae Smith would be a good pick against this defense. AJ Brown, yeah. Jalen Hurts is always a good pick. So we'll see. So I read that. This should be a blowout. It's hard. Yeah, I kind of agree. Slay could have 3 picks. Yeah, I think the defense is gonna look at the track record. Obviously, it's small sample size, six weeks. But look at the track record as what this team has done against sort of lower echelon quarterbacks. They've really gone and just eat against their opponents. So I think they're hungry, and I think they're just gonna go after and get after it this week. I do it's really the first game that I've gone into it thinking like this isn't gonna be a win, it's gonna be a blowout. And by blowout I don't mean like a 30-point win, but I think it's double digit.
24-13
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, somewhere on that. I think maybe even more. I guess if they don't need to score and they follow the trend with second halves, yeah, they might just kind of shut it down. So,
In Philly, right? Game's in Philly, I believe.
you would think I would know that. Yes, at Philadelphia.
Sunny and 63, so no weather to really play a factor in this one.
31-6 from Joe in chat. I like it. I like it.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, it could be. It could. Like I see this margin being further away in the Eagles' favor than I see it closer. But yeah, any you got it. We'll wrap up with any Flyers talk. Any other Eagles or Phillies talks points we want to get in real quick.
There was one quick Phil's thought that I had while we were talking Eagles, and it's simply Hector Neris knows this team inside and out. He doesn't know this version with Schwarber and Castellanos or whatever, but he knows this organization. But Brandon Marsh knows the Astros. He was on the Angels. That's where we got him from. Thorpe had a season with the Angels, pitched against the Astros a lot of times. So there is like some clubhouse stuff that could go back and forth there with some scouting and things like that could play a little bit of a factor because these two teams played in September, but outside of the game we clinched was a meaningless series. So there's that. That's really all I got from the Phils or the Eagles or the Flyers or the Sixers or the Union. The next thing I'd want to talk about is just a little quick Flyers minute.
I want to hear Citizens Bank Park after a Hector Neris blown lead so bad.
He's been good.
I know. Good. More of the reason why I want it to happen.
He got the win. He got the win in the clincher against the Yankees.
More of the reason why I want to beat him. But yeah, Craig, let's hit us with a little Flyers talk real quick.
Yeah, they're 4-2. I never in my but they just got shut out against the 1-6 Sharks. So like, this team is it's the Torts effect. Like anytime a leader at like a job gets fired or moves on, and a new leader comes in, you get that bump, right? The new leader bump. That's why so many corporations like to change leadership so often because you need the bump. You don't want things to get stale. And so the Flyers are kind of going through that right now. 4-2 after 6 games. My whole hashtag suck hard for Bedard isn't quite working out. But by the end of the season, all things will even and we'll be fine. I hear people on Twitter literally getting mad that they're winning. And it's like, yes, they're doing it backwards again, right? They're destined for another weird spot where they're just out of the top end of the draft and all the top premier talent. And they're in that middle where they just get a decent player and it just kind of makes the farm system continue to be meh. But like they'll be there by the end of the year. They're not a great team. Carter Hart is literally the reason they're 4-2. He's so unbelievably good right now. This team's going to struggle to score goals for the most part. They're going to get some tough teams coming up. They beat the Lightning on the road, and then they almost came back and beat the Panthers. Like some good hard hockey being played, but this is still an embarrassment of an organization. But I said it to you earlier. There are embarrassment. And I want them to win. Like I love this team. I've said it before. I have them inked on my body for my whole life. Like I love the Flyers. But I do want them to suck hard for Bedard. I don't care. Listen, we got Phils, we got Eagles, we got Union, we got plenty of things to take us through one bad Flyers season, just so we can capitalize. Of course, we'll lose the lottery. That's just our nature. And we won't get Bedard. But a man can dream. This is a fine and flawed team. They'll end up out of the playoffs, probably like 13th, 12th in the conference. I would love to say that'd be the last, but you got teams like Arizona who just stinks and the Sharkies who just stink. I'm not worried that this team's gonna stink, and I'm still watching every game because I'm a masochist. But you can't really complain about 4-2 without a superstar like a Goudreau or something like that. Farabee's been good. Konechny's been good, although he got benched recently for an entire third period. Same as Hayes. That's just Tortorella. He's just going to do it to you. I don't know. They're just about the most like who cares right now team. Like, you know what I mean? Like every game, no one cares. No one's talking about it because the baseball team is just overshadowing everything right now, and as they damn well should be. But in a week or two, Phils are going to be done. Eagles only play once a week. Sixers are off to a rough start. Flyers have an opportunity to make a little noise in this city because they got a weird, overly like Kool-Aid fan base, the diehards.
I was gonna say
So I mean, like you're
cultish.
gonna,
So cool,
yeah,
lady.
it's
That's
kind of it's kind of like that. Yeah, Kool-Aid-ist, I think is probably the nicer word. But yeah, man, I am very very excited for 78 more games of sucking. 4-2 is great. Let's revel in it, but it'll even out by the end of the year. We'll get a good draft pick. We'll be on our way. We can clear some cap space and get this thing rolling. It just sucks that we're probably 4 years away from true contending, and I don't even know who's still going to be on this roster. I mean, if we keep handing out contracts like we are, everybody will because we just gave Sanheim 8 more years. So
if Johnny Gaudreau were on this team, you would have what feels like the hockey version of a Bryce Harper. And when the Phillies signed Bryce Harper, 4 years ago, they were a team that was kind of lost. But now they're here, and this is why when people are like, "Why are you in or out?" based on Johnny Gaudreau coming to the team, it's kind of this is why, because and you mentioned it, a superstar on that team gives them a face and somewhere to build around in front of Carter Hart, but that's where this team that they need to go, and that's why the Bedard factor is it's needed. And yeah, like you said, I have no doubt that this team will be bad,
come back to earth.
Before,
yeah.
But I don't really like.
Columbus has played the most games in hockey. They've played 8 games. They're 3-5. I know they lost Line, but they have Johnny G. They're 3-5. Like they're just where they were before, So Johnny G, enjoy your next 7 years, my brother, because good for you. But Columbus stinks too. I mean, it is what it is right now. It's crazy that the Flyers would be in a playoff spot if they started today. They're in 3rd place in the Metro. It's like, what is going on? But
It's early.
It's 6 games. It's 6 games. It's not going to overreact.
It's early. Just a couple comments from Joe in chat. Hurts 3 TD passes, 350 yards.
Jesus,
World Series.
Never. This is a team to run against all day, though. Like that's what you do.
World Series MVP Rhys Hoskins. We take those.
I would take that, yeah, but boy, that means we sweep. Because
I would say, Bryce or whoever starts game 1.
Yeah, it's Bryce or Wheeler Nola.
Yeah.
No Wheeler.
Whatever one of them.
Nola Wheeler.
Or
it's Bryson Stott.
Or it could be Wheeler if you just think Wheeler is going to be game 2 and game 6 and he's just dominant.
He pitches the clincher potentially.
Yeah. Good.
I wouldn't mind like a Stottie. Like Jeremy Pena is a rookie shortstop for the Astros. He won the NLCS MVP or the ALCS MVP. So
Gene Segura could be one of those guys. But Kyle Schwarber. I mean, I guess I could just start naming everybody.
JT Realmuto.
Like we could just start naming literally everyone in the lineup. Except Nick Castellanos. No, come on. He's gonna get his first home run. In the playoffs. Bryson Nola are easy choices. I went big. No, I like it. And Greg asked, you may not have been here, asked for some of like the non-popular choices. And while Rhys is by no means not the pop, like he's not a non-popular. He's not Bryce Harper. And he's not Kyle Schwarber even. So yeah, I love it. If here's what I'll say. Rhys is heating up. And if Rhys Hoskins goes on / stays on one of his patented hot streaks, put the Astros on notice.
I don't know. Schwarber and Harper, though, the Astros pitching, though, is like made for them. They're so heavy right-handed. They have Valdez, and like that's it from the left-handed side. So like, you got Verlander righty, McCullers righty, who Schwarber hit a home run off of. Garcia righty. Who am I thinking of? Urquidy or whatever, righty, who he hit a home run off of. So like he's got, Bryce and Schwarber were made to face this pitching staff. So like, if I'm gonna lean somebody that's not Bryce, it's gonna be Kyle Schwarber for sure.
Yep. Anything else tonight, Greg?
Nada.
Well then, in that case, the next time we talk, who knows? Who knows?
Oh Jesus.
Just anybody hate Manny Machado's face as much as I did? I hate his ears more than anything. But
I hate Juan Soto more than Manny
that's just
Machado.
me
I like
being
Manny Machado.
I
can't stand Juan Soto.
one of these faces on this show right now, currently, back in the day, was saying, go Manny over Bryce. I at least covered my ass and said that Bryce Harper would be perfect for Philadelphia, which, damn, I didn't know I was going to be as right as I was when I said those words.
Yeah, I said Manny over Bryce too.
Okay, all right, so then two of us. But, hey, it's nice to be wrong.
I thought you were talking about me.
No,
and then you said you covered your ass. I was like, hey, I'll cop to it.
I actually forgot that we were, but yeah, I was. No, I'm not ashamed. Look, for all the things I was bragging about being right about, that was one of them I was wrong. But
hey, that means Alec Bohm was traded for a pitcher, so who the hell knows where we would be if we went Machado?
Who knows? Everything's different. Like you kind of said with the DH and everything, and it's crazy because like. I sit around and it's like, how many days of the year did I bitch last year about the designated hitter coming to the National League, and then now I couldn't be more excited for it. And it's not even that I'm excited for it, but my team is in the World Series because of it. Because
I was pro DH. I'm pro ban the shift. I'm pro pitch clock. I'm pro bigger bases. Like I'm pro it. Give it to me.
Everything but banning the shift.
Give me I hate the shift. See you later. Bryce gonna hit 400 next year. Like, give me, and Kyle Schwarber is gonna hit 230. I'm psyched, man. I hate the shift so much. Teams will figure it out though. They'll play right up against the bag.
No, I was thinking.
Bring the right fielder in.
Yeah, the hit against that Bryce Harper had. I'm pretty sure it was Bryce, where the Padres had the shortstop in like short right field. I'm like, I wonder if teams, especially teams with a good center fielder, bring the left fielder in that situation. He plays that spot, and you kind of shade your center fielder and play him at left center. I wonder
you can play the third baseman in shallow left, and then the shortstop can cover the entire left side of the infield. Like, you could figure it out. You just move your left fielder into right field, keep your center fielder there, move your third baseman back 20 steps, and move your shortstop in between short and third. And if you give up a base hit the other way, you give one up the other way, but at least you still get another guy over there. Yeah. It's going to be crazy what they're going to do. 4 outfielders might make a reappearance. Who knows? But yeah, I'm pro get rid of the shift. If only Ryan Howard was still playing. My God.
Wow, yeah.
The shift killed him. Just killed him.
True.
Literally destroyed his Achilles. But other than that,
all right. Well then, no more. No any other. We got nothing. I didn't plan a little final thoughts for today. I knew there'd be plenty.
Go Union. Go Phils.
To talk about.
Go Birds.
Well then, with that, it is time to put a bow on this pretty little show. Ryan Howard tweeted he wanted to come back. I love it. With that, I am Anthony Pinto.
I'm Greg Hall.
And we are out of here. Let's go, Phillies!